Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I never got to film an intro for this video, but this is the look I'll be showing you guys how to do today. So the very first thing I'm going to do is apply a base. Here I'm just using a cream white eyeshadow, and I'm just going to apply that basically all over the lid and blend it out with my finger. I like to do this when I do really bright looks because I find that a white base just really helps the colors pop as much as possible. The first color I'm going to be putting down is this medium lime green color, and using a small brush I'm just going to pack this as much as I can just on the inner part of the lid. I'm going to use a really light hand to blend out kind of the upper area and kind of fade it out towards the middle of the lid. Next up I'm going to be using this bright teal color, and with the same technique just packing it onto the center of the lid, and with a really light touch just really gently blending the blue and the green together, just sweeping back and forth and putting on a little bit more color when I need to, adding a little bit of the blue, blending it, adding a little bit of the green, blending it, and just going back and forth. This is the technique I'm going to be using for the next color I use as well, and it's basically just the same technique over and over and over again. I'm also blending the crease area a little bit, just adding a nice gradient effect there, but it doesn't really need to be perfect because there's not going to be a blend there. We're going to be covering that line of demarcation with a white eyeliner, so don't worry about it being perfect. Just try and get the blend between the colors as perfect as you can. Next up, I'm going to be using this dark teal color, and like I said before, just following the same technique, packing on the color as much as possible on the lid and creating a nice gradient effect by blending it with the other two colors. With this color, I am going to start to create the shape that I'm looking for with my look, and to do this I'm going to just use the color to build up kind of a line from the lash line towards the outer brow to create that wing, and then connecting it with the top line where the liner is going to go to the tip of that wing. I did find with this color I did need to pack on a bit more color than I did with the other two just to get the payoff that I was looking for, and I went in with a fluffy brush and picked up a little bit more of that color just to help blend the two, just because it wasn't blending as well as I was looking for. Now comes the hard part. So the first time when I did my other eye, I just used the liner brush that came inside of the product. This product is the NYX Vivid Brights liner, and I just found it really difficult to get an even and precise line. So for this eye, I opted to go for an angled brush. And you're basically just gonna apply this the way that you would like any other liner, but the really hard part is when you're trying to follow the line on the top of the lid and making sure it's even as possible and isn't too thin or thick in certain areas. What worked best for me was to just go in small little strokes and to get the basic shape down, and then if I needed to add thickness anywhere, then I went in afterwards and did that. If I were to do this look again, I don't think I would be using the NYX Vivid Brights. I wasn't actually too happy with the way that the application on this worked. No matter how thick or thin I tried to apply the product, it seemed to dry out a lot, and then it started to crack, and it was just kind of falling off the lid, and it was a hot mess. So I would definitely recommend, if you're going to do some graphic liner like this, I wouldn't go with the NYX. I would probably go with like the Urban Decay liquid liners, or just something that has a bit better of a consistency and it's not going to dry up on you so much. Like I said, I just kind of continued to work this. Take your time. It's definitely really difficult to be precise with this, especially when you're going in with such a tiny little brush. You don't want it to look uneven. You want it to be as kind of cohesive as possible. So just take your time. I found myself holding my breath a lot when I was doing it just because I felt like if I would breathe, I would mess it up. But it all worked out in the end, so I think we're okay. After I was happy with the way that the liner looked, I went ahead and moved on to the face. So I know this foundation is a little bit too dark for me. It's all I had at the time, but this is the Make Up For Ever Ultra HD foundation, and unfortunately I don't know what color I was in because this is a pre-recorded video, but I just did the best I could to work that in and make the color work for me. This is my favorite foundation of all time, but I just needed to get a different color because this one obviously wasn't working out for me so well. Moving on to concealer, I used the NYX HD concealer, and unfortunately I'm not exactly sure what the name of this color was, but I'm pretty sure it was just the lightest yellow-based concealer they had. Despite my misfortune with the white liner from NYX, I actually do really like this concealer, and I think it's a fantastic dupe for the NARS Creamy Concealer. It just has a really good amount of coverage, it blends out really easily, and it stays on a decent amount for a drugstore concealer. When I recorded this video last year, I was kind of in this phase of just completely over-highlighting my entire face, which I think is why I was going for a darker concealer, because I was getting washed out by how much concealer I was using. Nowadays, I don't do this much, but yeah, I just wanted to include this in the video just to kind of give you guys an idea of how I achieved the overall look, but this isn't necessarily how I go about my full face routine anymore. So go ahead and give this video a like if you would like to see a updated full face routine. Next up, I am going to bake my face, and I'm going to bake everywhere that I highlighted. Just like I was in a phase where I was over highlighting, I was definitely over baking as well. Nowadays, my skin's a little bit more dry, so I don't really bake this much, but I was using the RCMA No Color Powder, which is a pretty good baking powder if you're looking for something affordable. Looking back at this footage, it's almost ridiculous how much I decided to bake my entire face, and honestly, I'm ashamed. I don't know what I was doing, guys. But we all make mistakes. We all start somewhere. While that loose powder is baking on my face, I set the rest of my face with my MAC Studio Fix powder in NC20. I'm definitely really into a full coverage look, so even if I'm using a full coverage foundation, I love to go in with my NC20 powder and to set everywhere else, just to get as much coverage as I possibly can. Because I do have dry skin, I don't like to have my bake set for super long, maybe like 5 minutes max, so I am starting to wipe away that bake. And moving on to blush, I really always stick with the same colors, definitely more of like a peachy mauve-y areas where I like to stay. And this blush palette was just a really cheap one. I think it was $10 from Forever 21. As far as mascara goes, I've definitely been keeping it old school with the Great Lash by Maybelline. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie. It doesn't really do anything super fantastic for your lashes, but I especially like it on my lower lashes, so I'll use it when I'm going to use like false lashes and I don't need a lot of oomph on the top. To give a little bit more of a pop in my inner corner, I went in with this bright shimmery lime green. Most of the colors I used on the lid were all matte, but I did want to bring a bit of a sparkle to that inner corner, so just to get rid of all that powder, all that excess powdery look on my skin, I set with my MAC Fix Plus spray. To finish up the face, I just highlighted with my Laura Mercier highlighting baked powder, and this is in the shade 01, I think. This definitely isn't like a blinding highlight, but it does give you a really nice glow and a sheen, like a lit from within sort of thing. I'm out of it now, and I don't think I'm going to be repurchasing it, but if you do like a subtle glow, this is definitely a really good option. For lips, I wanted to line with just kind of like a natural nude. So here I'm using the All Natural color by NYX. This is a really good, affordable lip liner if you're looking for just a really generic, kind of mauve-y nude color. For lipstick, I went in with one of my all-time favorite drugstore nudes. This one is by Rimmel London, and it's part of the Moisture Renew line that they do, I guess. And this is the color 710 First Class Nude. And that's it for the final look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this wasn't the most organized video I've ever done, but it still means a lot. You guys can follow me on all my social media here. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Once again, thanks for watching. Bye!